the first thing I did was text my 17-year-old son, and I was like, we're going to go watch the Killers game. It's awesome. So thank you guys for your time. No, I really appreciate it. Now, there's a few scenes in the film where Maisie is romantically carried by Joe. So what is it like being cradled in Dave Bautista's arms?
I mean, it's you get used to it. That's the problem. And then you turn around, like, where is he? You should see the ones where I carry him, but they decided to cut it out of the scenes. But
no, that is impressive. It looked really cozy to me, and the Superman shot that you guys did, that made me jealous. Where in the bed where he's like holding you up with his legs.
Right.
Do you know? I was like, I think I was just having fun, and then JJ was like, let's just shoot it.
Right?
Yeah, it was cute.
No one's done that to me since I was a kid. I was like, that looks like a lot of fun.
I was so afraid I was going to drop her.
Yeah, I mean,
really
it can be dangerous.
It
was fun.
Speaking of Superman, I was going to tell you, I started that campaign where I wanted you to be Lex Luthor. And I was so low-key disappointed.
Right
I loved, I think you would have been great. But speaking of that, I wanted to say you had like a mini Guardians reunion in this with Palm, and you guys are always excellent together. Is there any chance that we're going to see another Guardians reunion in the near future?
I hope so. Yeah, that's kind of my goal. I really want, because I've done another project outside of Guardians with Karen Gillan, and I've worked with Palm now. But I would like to work with Chris and Zoe outside of the the Marvel universe as well.
Yeah. Like the DC universe? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, of course, as I've said, and I've been very open about it, I'm very open to that. I guess it just has to be the right part. And,
sure.
But I'm very open to it, and I love James, and I would do anything to work with him again.
Yeah, you guys you've all had amazing chemistry, and you guys had amazing chemistry in this. I loved it. So I just thought you guys were so much fun together. What are the chances that if audiences love this, that you'd be open to revisiting it? Because I feel like we need like an assassins couple movie. Like we never got that sequel in True Lies.
She says it at the end. Kids cost a lot of money, diapers, milk, and all the food and strollers, and they're gonna need to have a plan for it, which is maybe he doesn't need to retire after all.
Yeah.
And she's a dancer, so she for sure can do one or two things.
Right. And we intentionally we left this open. We're hoping.
Yeah.
But until comes out and see how it's received. And
JJ said he wanted to do a trilogy where the baby's a part of it, and the third one, and I was like, that's the best idea I've ever heard. I want to see that so bad. Mm-hmm. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but did I see some new tattoos in this? Did you have any new tattoos?
I don't think so.
No.
No. Well, there was JJ was an Army Ranger, so one of his he likes to use his logo in a lot of his films. So I had a tattoo from one of his Army Ranger battalions.
Is there anywhere that you wouldn't get a tattoo?
Well, yeah, but I mean, pretty sensitive areas, but
No, one last thing I wanted to ask you about is you pulled off some Arnold level one-liners in this. When you were dropping them, I was having so much fun with this because it was really reminding me like a throwback to those 80s and 90s action films. So were there any lines in the movie that you improv'd, or do you remember any lines that got cut that didn't end up getting used?
Oh man, there was a lot of improv going on, but right now off the top of my head I can't remember. But we improv'd a lot, and there was so much room for it. It was so much fun.
Yeah, and JJ was always game and fun about that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
There was one that I think they used in the trailer that didn't make the film, but there's one where I get hit with the motorcycle tire, and I say, "Did he just hit me with a motorcycle? That's just disrespectful." I think it made the trailer.
They used that. They kept it.
Yeah. Oh, did they? Yeah.
I think so. Did they?
Yeah, I think that's in there.
I think it's in there.
But that was an improv thing. I was like, let me do more. Let me say, and it stemmed from it's a memory I had. I was doing jiu-jitsu with a buddy of mine, and I put him in this in a certain position, which I split his legs apart, and he goes, "Oh man, that's just disrespectful." and I just started laughing. It always kind of stuck with me. So that's where I got the line.
Sir, the movie's hilarious. You and Scott are hilarious. I loved it, man. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you, buddy, for your time and the compliment. I guess that's the big worry when you've never done something like this before. Is God, I hope people don't think I suck.
No, not at all. I'm sorry I missed you too. I was there yesterday to talk to Dave, and I had to fly back to Nashville last night. So I'm just glad that we're getting a chance to talk. But man, what an acting debut! It's better than like a CGI scorpion. You killed it, dude.
I appreciate that. We'll see where it turns out. The CGI Scorpion led to some big things, so hopefully, this leads to some big things, and perhaps, I can be the first kind of full-time wrestler while continuing, to have fun on the side.
Now, is the Killer's Game the closest thing we're going to get to seeing you and Batista have an actual match?
I hope not. I mean, the fight itself was a lot of fun, and I was disappointed, during my time in WWE when Dave was there. I kind of grew up around him in my early 20s. He was such a big star, obviously, at the time, his peak of his career. We never had that singles match. So it's fun to, get to fight with no restrictions. You can kill people in movies. But I'm very up for it, obviously. It's in Dave's court. And I said this earlier, I'm not saying that, Dave's chicken if he doesn't accept the match, but he's definitely something that's another word for a cat.
Now, the captions were amazing. That was one of my favorite parts of the movie. I'd like to say, maybe it's because my grandparents were Scottish. I could understand everything you were saying. I didn't need them. But as a Scotsman, which American accent do you have the hardest time understanding?
I'm actually pretty good with most. Just being Scottish, it's like the hardest accent to understand in the world. Like when I first came over, I look at myself back in videos and I'm like, I can barely understand myself. We talk so fast. I mumble myself. We use a lot of slang and the accent's so thick. And I guess because of that, I can pretty much understand anybody. I remember being in New Orleans. I was at Cajun, the accent, and myself and somebody with the proper Cajun accent were going back and forth. And a few people I was with were like, "What are you guys talking about? How can you understand each other?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know. It's like we're talking our own language here." So yeah, I'm pretty good.
Now, is it fair to say that you can watch Peaky Blinders without the captions turned on?
100%. Well, I'm kind of, I'm a little hard of hearing, so maybe I'll put the captions on for that, but not because I can't understand the accents.
I got you. Now that you've made your professional acting debut, does this mean that you're going to be cast in Highlander?
I mean, not saying it's a layup, but I'm saying it's pretty much a layup. So
It's
let's see
like
what
right
happens.
there. It's
I
like,
mean,
come on.
It's like, here's the
with
ball,
Henry
here's an
Cavill?
open net. You gonna kick it in or not? See, football, real football, ball kick with feet.
Yeah. You don't mind if Henry Cavill cuts your head off, do you?
I think I can handle that. But imagine the twist if I cut his head off. That's why, like, we're not going to spoil the end of the Killer's Game, but when Dave and I fight, who knows who's going to win?
Who knows? And also, yeah, that would be a great twist. Like, it turns out you're the Highlander.
Yeah.
Sorry, Henry.
Sorry, Henry. You don't get the history in the movies, but we got to make the kid. So you're taking the fall in this one.
This is a question I want to know. But do you think that your on-screen brother Scott Adkins would beat up CM Punk in a fight?
Yeah, I mean, that's like asking me, do you think the sky is blue or the grass is green? Of course. Scott is a legitimate badass. Can do things like with his kicks and his strikes that I've never seen any other human being do. He helped me massively during the movie, during the process, to relax and things that I wouldn't know naturally. Just like, hey, make sure you stand here. Here's this thing called a mark I'd never heard of. But when it comes to kicking people's arse, yeah, he'd probably have my number. I might be twice the size, but he's got some moves. Anybody, Punk's arse is my point.
Follow-up question: is there anyone on the cast who couldn't beat up CM Punk?
There was this little old lady I saw, helping in the catering area, and she could definitely beat him up. So no, nobody.
Now you're also you're wrestling Punk this weekend in a strap match. Do you think it's possible to give Punk a whipping so bad that it turns him into a good person?
No. As much as he's putting on the act right now, I know what he's really like. The people that know him know what he's really like. The act can only last so long before he has a breakdown, has an outburst, and screws his last opportunity with WWE. I perhaps can whip him so bad that he'll never wrestle again or never have a normal life again. You saw what he did to me a couple of weeks ago with the belt from my jeans, and he scarred me up pretty good. I've still got some of those marks on my back, and a couple might never leave. And he's the size of my leg. So imagine what's going to happen when I start whipping him.
I've been having a good time imagining it. The other day, WWE actually just released your match with the Nasty Boys from the Vault. So was watching that match back more or less painful than what you're gonna do to CM Punk?
I will never ever watch that match back.
You didn't watch it
You'll
back.
have to tie me to the chair like Clockwork Orange style and pry my eyes open to watch that match. I did the intro for it, obviously. You see before they play the match, but that's some serious trauma. I don't need to relive what happened there. The number one curtain sellout of all WWE history. The curtain sellout is just when everybody comes to watch the match that's happening in the ring. Usually at TV, people are busy. They have to take care of their segment for later. They're chatting, not watching what's going on in the ring, especially the non-televised matches. Everybody in the backstage area, I mean, everybody was waiting at monitors, peeking through curtains. And I was like, is this normal? They're like, no, they just know this is about to be a train wreck. And it was a freaking train wreck.
Last question for you, man. What are you gonna do with the bracelet when all this is said and done with you and Punk?
Do we have it handy there? Check it over. Comes with me everywhere. What am I going to do with it? I don't know. Like I toy with the idea of breaking it, but that's too easy. It causes them just so much emotional hurt and stress. It's hilarious over something that's, just a piece of trash to me. No, once I take him out of wrestling and I get surgery for my arm for all the high fives I'm given for taking Punk out of wrestling, I'll probably frame it, put it in a nice little glass frame, put it above my mantle, and look at my greatest achievement, not wrestling in the main event of WrestleMania, multiple world titles, holding the place together when the world shut down during the pandemic. No, taking CM Punk out of wrestling, my number one achievement.
That sounds like a great achievement to me.
Also was in a real movie, which he's never done. Straight to DVD Punk. Gonna bring it back around.
Yeah, no, good job, man. So great to talk to you. I loved you in this movie, man. It was like I said, you were a highlight for me. So I really appreciate you taking the time.
No, appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
First question for you: have you seen The Boss live?
No.
No.
But I'm from that era because I haven't seen it. But now that you say it, I'm like, damn, I should go and watch it on.
The way that it was, he gets brought up in the movie, I was like, oh, I bet JJ loves some Bruce Springsteen.
I wanted to say The Who, but it wasn't as cool because he's not the boss.
Yeah, no, I understand. I haven't seen The Boss live either.
Right.
So my claim to fame is Prince. That's the big one that I've seen. Yeah,
Killed it.
Yeah, that was.
We just
great.
saw Journey last night with Dave. Dave
Oh,
took me to see
nice.
Journey and Def Leppard.
Oh, that's awesome.
Gangster,
I bet that was an amazing show.
Cool.
Now, I only asked this because the last movie we talked about was Day Shift, and it was about vampires. But the opening scene in the movie with Sofia, for me in the theater, it really reminded me of the scene in Interview with the Vampire. So was that an inspiration for that scene at all, or am I just making things up?
I don't have a background in dance choreography, but I needed it to be super cool, and I was petrified of the character Maisie. I needed an actress, and I was thinking, how am I going to get her to dance? Am I going to put a mask on her, like do this, mask thing, and she reveals at the end. But when we met Sofia, I was like, wow, no, it's a home run because of that relationship they had. I didn't really have an inspiration for that. I hired I want to claim choreography responsibility,
Sure.
but I hired a professional to help us with that.
Okay, yeah. I got you. Now, as a stuntman yourself, there are some gnarly action scenes in this. I mean, I have not been this impressed with some of the action scenes that I've seen in like a little while, and just so many of them were making me wince. So I was like, oh my God, this is great. Which stunt that got pulled off for this film were you personally the most impressed with?
So we shot the movie in 42 days.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very fast shoot. And I have an amazing action team with me, with Justin Yu, Troy Robinson, and Felix Betancourt. The motorcycle sequence was badass because those are trick riders from the X Games. That was a lot of fun. All the fights were super cool. I'm trying to think of what... I don't think there was anything that was difficult because... So for me, the hard part was getting the love story and the comedy right.
Mm-hmm.
Like action is my neighborhood, man.
Right.
I've been there for 34 years. It's like I can close my eyes and know where I'm going. So yeah, I don't think there's anything that I was like, I didn't say a Hail Mary for. When we were shooting in that church, we weren't actually supposed to do a bunch of pyro. So I just asked for forgiveness and not permission. So that might have been the only time I did a Hail Mary. But I was near a Catholic church, so I could just go in and confess and get forgiven. So.
There was a shot, too, in the church where Scott does the slow motion kick, and he sort of kicks back.
That's
and
right.
I was like, oh, holy crap.
That's called a Guyver kick.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
I love that. Speaking of which, I'm glad you brought up like the love aspect of the story, because I thought Dave and Sofia had amazing chemistry in this. So I'd personally love to see more of it. Is there any talk at all about possibly revisiting like a sequel if people love this movie, in the sense of like, because I say that because I would love to see like an assassin couple, you know, because we never got True Lies, you know what I mean? They sort of set it up with Arnold and Jamie Lee Curtis, and we never got that sequel. So is that something that you'd be interested in?
From your lips to God's ears, my brother. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Do you remember Lone Wolf and Cub?
Oh, no.
From the 70s. It's the Shogun assassin where he pushes the baby in the cart.
Okay.
We start with the 2. And then the third one we'll do with a baby in the cart with knives that pop out, and the baby shoots. Yeah, it's going to be badass.
Yes, the Killer's Game trilogy.
Come
I love
on,
it.
brother.
Let's do it.
Roll the dice.
So nice to talk to you, man. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.